That's good news.
Okay, guys, first off, it's great to see everyone. So, hugs and to everyone. Uh, it's been a long period of COVID where we had no meetings, not a lot was going on. A lot of people went through tremendous stress during that period of COVID. Uh, right now, this period of time is called the Huckle year. What is it? What is the Huckle year? We finished what was called the Shemitah year. Every 7 years, according to the Torah, if you're living in Israel, farmers, you have to keep the land. You don't grow anything. You just leave it. You just leave it for a year, then you return the next year. We finished the Shemitah year. And on Rosh Hashanah, that was the conclusion of the Shemitah year. And what happens right after that is Hakel. And what happened when we had a temple in Israel during the year of Hakel? What happened? Well, I'll tell you what happened. All the Jews would go up to, would ascend the Temple Mount and would go to the temple. And the king, we had a king in those days, would address the Jewish people and speak words of Torah. The king was a commandment. A Jewish king in Israel, he had to write a Sefer Torah. So he'd be very knowledgeable about the Torah. Could you imagine the Temple Mount? Picture in your mind millions of Jews going up to the temple because it's ours. I was there, the Temple Mount, on Yom Yerushalayim. I was there, and over 100,000 other Jews were at the Kotel. I went up early in the morning with a number of Jews to the Temple Mount. It would be incredible if thousands of Jews were going up to the Temple Mount to reclaim it. What took place on the Temple Mount prior to that? Hamas was having rallies on the Temple Mount, on our Temple Mount, and they were preaching murder Jews. They were chanting, Kaibar, Kaibar, Yeh Yehud. The armies of Muhammad are coming for you. That was the chant that they had centuries ago as they slaughtered the Jews in Kaibar. They were celebrating, when I got there in March, there was a wave of terrorist attacks. There were terrorist attacks in Hadera, in Beersheba, in Tel Aviv, and in Elad. In Elad, a Jewish driver who lives there, you can't fault him, naively, he thought he's picking up some Palestinian, workers to come to the construction site. And he makes a deal. I mean, he's sort of like acting like a cab service, but not really. But anyways, a little fee, a few shekels, take them to the job site. Once they arrived in Elad, and Elad is not far from Tel Aviv. Once they arrived there, they took out their axes and they butchered the Jewish driver. And they proceeded to butcher other Jews in Elad. Hamas was having rallies throughout the territories, in Jenin and other places, and they were having rallies on the Temple Mount, celebrating the butchering of Jews. So when we think about that this is the year of Hakel, when we remember, we're supposed to remember what it was when it really was in our hands and we had a king and we had a temple, and we should internalize that. It would be nice if everything worked out, that the Oslo Accords worked out, and that a two-state solution was something believable, that they could come in. I'm sitting with some friends in the Mamilla Mall in Jerusalem, and one of the guys, a JDL guy from Philadelphia, a good guy, used to do a lot of bodyguard work for Rabbi Kahana in the day. And so we're sitting around, we're having a good time, we're eating, having a coffee, and he says to me, says to us, a few of us there, says, "Have you noticed the apartheid here in the Manila Mall?" And we're laughing our heads off because we're seeing Muslim women there with hijabs, shopping, going about their business. It's an amazing mall, the Manila Mall in Jerusalem. It's incredible in there, and we see nobody's bothering Muslims who are shopping there, nothing like that. And where I live, where I got an apartment right now in Malay Damim, right across the highway, a couple of minutes away, is an Arab town. There are signs there on the entrance to the Arab town, big, huge signs in red and black. Danger for Israelis, don't go further. Now, Arab Israelis could go there with no problem. They mean Jews. Jews can't go. Wouldn't it be nice if, as Arabs, Muslims are walking around in Israel, shopping, carrying on with their whatever they want to do, that we had that same carefree attitude, that we could enter into an Arab village, like across from Malay Damim or Ramallah or anywhere. Jenin, go there, go to a coffee shop. You're on your way to go somewhere else, stop by, get a coffee, go get a cold drink. But no, you can't, because you might be butchered, just like what happened in Elad. That's who we're dealing with. And they say whenever there's a terrorist attack that these were innocent people that the IDF or the Israeli police shot. Just like a few days ago, there was a doctor that a doctor from Jenin, they said is an innocent person. All of a sudden, pictures emerge of this doctor with machine guns. It's good, let him ride. The more the better. Good. I like it. I like the bikes. I like the bikes. So anyway, so what we try to do, what we're trying to do since we were locked down with COVID, so that we started a podcast, and we call it the Never Again Live Show. And we have a new website, Israel Now, and we're exposing a lot of what's going on. And we're trying to expose the truth. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of concerning issues going on here in Canada. I don't know if people are aware of what's going on in Ottawa at the Ottawa Carleton District School Board, that they passed a motion just over a year ago to ban the police from public schools. The Jewish community was concerned about a rise in anti-Semitism in the public schools, as you see what is going on university campuses. This is now in public schools. The Ottawa Carleton District School Board, they hired advisors to advise them how to deal with anti-Semitism in the public schools. They hire an advisor who says he's Jewish. This advisor says that the Jews are a privileged people. This is going on in public schools, Ottawa, all the schools in Ottawa. The Jews are a privileged people, and we should see reality, in quotes, through the lens of the Arabs or the Muslims who he considers to be oppressed people. In other words, when the Jews were slaughtered in Elad, we should see it through the eyes of the terrorists that are murdering us. We should not emphasize with the Jewish people who suffered a Holocaust. He calls us an entitled people. Who's active in the public school system? There's a group. There's a group that organizes a lot of these protests, like the one that was May 15th, where there's a lot of people from the Islamic community, a lot of violence against Jews there. The Palestinian Youth Movement, they call for an intifada. They're active in the public schools. inciting the students. We have testimonies from Jewish students. Swastikas are being carved into their desks. They're being pushed. They're being spat at. There was a hearing for the Ottawa Carleton District School Board just a few days ago, and you could register to speak. I submitted the application. I wanted to speak. They denied me. They said the denial is because you're not from Ottawa. Well, guess what? Others who don't live in Ottawa were allowed to speak there. Others from Toronto. In fact, they have officials from the Ottawa Carleton District School Board who don't even live in Ottawa. One high-ranking person lives in Toronto. So they're applying total double standards, anti-Semitic double standards to Jews. There's a lot going on in public schools here in Toronto, in Peel region, all over Canada. You're reading what's going on in Berkeley University in the States. Well, guess what? It's all happening here in universities, University of Toronto, York University. The anti-Semitism is rampant. But there's good news too. There's good news too. The good news is that Israel is incredibly strong. Israel at one time was so reliant on U.S. foreign aid that the U.S. foreign aid was over 10% of the Israeli GDP, gross national product. Today, the GDP in Israel, estimates are that at the end of 2022, the GDP in Israel could potentially be maybe getting close to, anyways, $500 billion. In other words, when you look at the $3 billion or maybe a little more of U.S. aid, and it's really not aid, to be honest, it's cooperation projects that the U.S. benefits from. So it's not aid. When you consider that, it's not even 1% of what they help Israel with. At one time, there was a lot of leverage on Israel because it was over 10%. GDP in Israel one time was about 40 billion, and when you're giving like 3.5 billion to help, that was pretty substantial back then. Now, with Israel's discoveries of natural gas and technology, and they're a giant, that's why countries are making peace deals with Israel right now. That's one thing that's going on with Israel, and it's only getting even stronger, the economy, as we move forward. Other thing, the demographic threat to Israel. There used to be, we used to think that there was a demographic threat to Israel's existence, that the Arabs are going to outnumber the Jews, and our birth rate is too low, and there's no way that Israel is going to sustain itself as a Jewish state. Well, the population right now in Israel is over 7 million Jews. It's the largest population of Jews anywhere in the world. The Jewish birth rate is on the ascension. The Arab birth rate is down. There's absolutely Israel has no threat to its throat of a demographic problem. That was the main impetus for the Oslo Accords, because they thought there was a demographic threat hovering over them. No longer. So no one's really interested in giving up land, and especially giving up the land to who? To who? Those who love to butcher us. And the land is, it's not like Gaza anyways, if you're familiar with topography in Israel. Judea and Samaria is mountainous, and you have cities there that are overlooking major population areas in Israel proper. Israel's not going to allow guns to be pointed and weapons to be pointed at our major cities. So there's great news coming out of Israel. Also, with regards to the Temple Mount, more and more Jews are going up to the Temple Mount. It's becoming very popular for Jews. So when you take the message of Hakel, be part of the movement of change, of a future for the Jewish people. Visit Israel as much as you can. Go up on the Temple Mount. Now, the rabbi in my shul, he said there's 3 things you got to do for Hakel. One, you have to give a Dvar Torah, which I did. And get involved also with our new group also. It's Israel Now. The initials are really mean something. IN. Be part of the IN group. Be part of Israel Now. Work for change. The rabbi also said I should read something from Tehillim, from Psalms, which I will. Something very short. And he said, read that, and also there is something here where you can make a contribution, tzedakah. That's good. So here it is, a song to the ascents. I raise my eyes to the mountains. Whence will come my help? My help is from Hashem, maker of heaven and earth. He will not allow your foot to falter. Your guardian will not slumber. Behold, he neither slumbers nor sleeps. The guardian of Israel. Hashem is your guardian. Hashem is your shade at your right hand. By day, the sun will not harm you, nor the moon by night. Listen, guys, we have no choice. We don't have any real allies when it comes down to it. Everybody's motivated by self-interest. We do have some friends, and we have to embrace them. But when you look at our history, Europe turned on the Jews, and we lost 6 million. The British, with the British Mandate, when they had the British Mandate, we thought everything was going to be wonderful. But when the war started, the Holocaust started, 1939, the British started a white paper, which made it illegal for Jews to move to Israel. Where were we to go when Hitler wants to murder all of us? We have to do it. We have to do it. We have to rely on ourselves. That's what it's all about. And it's great to see everyone. And we have a bright future, but we have to keep the faith. We have to stay together. And we have to have the ideals. And we're moving in the right direction. So thanks, everybody. Enjoy the food. Thank you.
Talking about military technology.